Are you one of the great minds who has made large impact to the society, the community, and the country at large? Here is a platform for you. The Impact Matters with Madinma. We recognize your strengths, your efforts, and more so, your businesses. Join me as I welcome you to The Impact Matters with Madinma. Hello everyone, this is Edie. I did it. Impact Matters with Madinma, and today I'm on set with nobody else but the past President and Chief Executive Officer of the Transnational Corporation of Nigeria (PLC), and also the leading aspirant of the Governorship of Anambra State, Mr. Valentine Ozigbo.
Thank you, Madinma. How are you?
I'm very much good, sir. You're very much welcome to Impact Matters with Madinma.
Thank you very much.
You know, one very beautiful thing about this man is that he has the heart of hospitality as his interest. I mean, he has the hospitality interest so much large at his heart. Mr. Valentine Ozigbo, how? I mean, how? Because that's really so awesome of you.
Thank you. You know, talking about, life of impact, the truth is, this is the mantra that I've lived by for years now. Hospitality is what I started to do at a later stage in life, but the spirit has always been with me from nature. I consider it something that nature and nurture brought together and elevated to a much higher degree in my life. And if I narrate my personal story, you will understand why I'm summarizing it this way. The truth is, life is not worth living if it's not to touch on others. Life of impact, in fact, if you even go back to the slogan for Transcorp PLC, you'll see is about impacting life and touching humanity and transforming Nigeria. So it is really, really about life of impact. But let me go back to where it all started, from my home. I come from a very humble background, son of a village headmaster and a petty trader, and thank God both still alive at 92 and 86. But being son of a headmaster and a catechist who had to move from one local village to another, I learned a lot. I learned, when you get to a new environment and people there welcome you, and you get even more exposed in life, and with the level of discipline that we also, because a son of a headmaster, you have to behave yourself. Anything you do, like they say in Igbo, Nkuzi. So we all had to behave in a certain manner, and mainly to show courtesy and respect to the other person. And so we were forced to behave, and we learned, and it became part of our life. And that's actually part of the reason why, I started to do well at early in life, from primary school, secondary school, winning a lot of prizes, getting to university. And even when I got into my career, the same thing followed. It was all about making the other person happy, leaving whoever you engage with a positive impression. And that became my second nature. And so getting into hospitality was like reaching a crescendo. And it is something that I am thankful to God about, because even if I go back to the injunction in the Bible, it's about loving your neighbor, touching the other person, and not just, it is my life, I can live my life the way I want. No, you can live your life in a manner that respects the rights of the others, knowing that where yours end may be where theirs begin. So this has been part of me, and so it wasn't any accident that I started to see how I can actually begin to impact on others. And this is what is also taking me into politics now.
Wow, that was such a very lovely one. We just go on a very short break, after which we're going to have still back with Mr. Valentine Ozigbo on the show, telling us more he has for us regarding the impact, interest, for his people, and a lot more. Thank you. DID. DID.
DID. Did it daily.
Mr. Valentine Ozigbo was born on the 20th of July 1970, and he studied at the University of Nigeria in Nsukka and Lancaster University, United Kingdom, with a first-class degree point. And he has different degrees at the BSc Accounting, MBA, Banking and Finance, MSc Finance. Professional career experiences on the now mentioned bank, Diamond Bank, Continental Trust Bank, FSB International Bank, Standard Trust Bank, United Bank for Africa, Bank PHB, Transcorp Hotels PLC. Mr. Valentine Ozigbo has participated in many international conferences, including World Economic Forum, World Economic Forum of Africa in Nigeria, Welcome again to Impact Matters with Madinma. Still with me on set, Mr. Valentine Ozigbo. Okay, so coming to the Anambra State, aspiration or, desire. I mean, coming to that yes. Very area. I mean, tell us more what you actually have for Anambra State at large and.
For me, I actually have been comfortable doing whatever it was I was doing. I wasn't just successful from my educational side, and also the same from career side. I needed to do more. I went into a lot of other things in addition to what I was doing, even as Group CEO. I wanted to touch the younger ones, the youth and the women. I set up my foundation to try and impact their lives. And every December, I would take leadership experts to Anambra State. I would gather them, get them to sign on the website, and I'd get them to attend leadership training, where we teach them a lot of life success skills, from culture of continuous improvement to personal effectiveness to succession planning to things that will be relevant no matter what you do, whether you're jobless or you're gainfully employed, whether you're an entrepreneur or a trader, whether you're a student or an artisan. So there were things we felt that if you imbibed, it would help you no matter where you are. Even if you're successful already, you can get more successful.
Yeah.
So now we did that as part of four-pronged program. The second was business plan competition. We felt, okay, it's not just about talking to people. Let's put our money where our mouth is. Let's get to see the bright minds. I mean, I was a judge in the UWIN government program like that. I was also part of the Tunnel Melu entrepreneurship program. And so I felt this was at federal level, at continental level, let me bring one home. Let me go to my village where I grew up and see how I can touch lives there. Let me not wait until I become a billionaire before I start to do something. So I started that much earlier. So we do the business plan competition. They apply. People will compete based on their ability to develop IT skills on websites, farming, poultry, gari processing, things like that. And they come out and make their pitch. We have independent adjudicators that will appraise them, and eventually winners will emerge, and we will rank them. Initially, I started off giving 1 million to the first prize, 500,000, and like that. I scaled that up at a later year to 2 million first prize, second prize 1 million, top prize 1 million, and then we have other consolation prizes. And it wasn't just the money that we were providing, it was also the mentorship that would follow, because we would like to handhold them until they become successful. So we visit them once in a while, find out how they're doing, and give them some tips and advice. And in fact, in one of the periods, I had to fly the winners to Abuja to become part of the World Economic Forum through a virtual networking. And so that's the second part of the program. We'll go to the third part, which is talent hunt. Acting, dancing, comedy, singing, and again at this point, I actually would bring people who are successful in the industry. I bring people like Kanayo, Kirume, and others, and they become the judges for these people. And just even the advice they get on the spot can help them, can change their lives.
Yeah.
So we did that part. And then we'll go to the final part, which is the carnival. The truth is, if you go to these villages to talk to the young boys and girls, and you just feed them with, the mental, food, you even give them money, and you also entertain them without bringing them in like a carnival setting. Yeah, you haven't done much
impact. Yeah.
So now what I do is to crown it all. I bring Flavor, Fino, Simi, Harry Song, and KC.
Yeah.
So over 20 A-list artists I've taken to my village over the years, and at this point you see like 10,000 youths gather, and actually we provide entertainment for free.
Really?
So this is what I had always done. Now, in doing this, rumors everywhere. Vamos want to go into politics. Why is he doing all this? I wasn't doing it for anything. I was just let me impact lives. But there will come a time when you need to ask yourself deep questions. When you do introspection, ask yourself, is this it? Is this what life is about? Yes, I live in a presidential suite for years. I go anywhere abroad I'm taken care of, and sometimes you'll be on private jet. But you come home, the road, the suffering, the insecurity, you get uncomfortable. It is my discomfort with the status quo that's pushing me into politics. And trying to answer that question, but something wrong with us. Why do we always settle with mediocrity? Why would things remain like this? I turned 50 last year, and I said to myself, how many more years? So this is it. And I will just live this life. I have the comfort, and next thing I am dead. I would have died in shame. And I asked myself again, did God actually create us inferior? Is something wrong with us? Why is it that you go to other continents, they've moved on? Here, we find beautiful excuses to explain away our laxity, our failure, and in fact, outright stupidity. Why do we find excuses for the mundane and pedestal? Why do we justify away? Oh, this is Nigeria. Oh, African time. Oh, what's wrong with us? Something wrong with us. Is it the color of our skin? Because even if you look beyond Nigeria, the same issue everywhere. Everywhere. Go to any part of, even if you get to the blacks in the US or blacks in, you see the same trend, something wrong. And actually, what shocked me was, and I shook my head in disbelief to hear people actually think that something is actually wrong. So people actually, there's some tribes you go to, they think that God created them to remain poor. Even in the north, even in India. So that's how we've also come to that conclusion that Oyibo man is superior to a black man. It is in the mental psyche. If you take a white man to your village, watch and see how the kids, they've seen demigod. But guess what? Nothing is wrong with us. In fact, if you go back in time, if you go back to the history, you will see that if anything, God created us with far greater, opportunities and advantages over the rest. But I think we've got it wrong in a number of instances. I can go back to our great-grandfather. I ask myself, why did they allow themselves to be colonized? Why did they allow themselves to be traded into slavery? Why were we not the colonizer? So don't give me those excuses anymore. It's just because we haven't taken responsibility. If you go back, tell people, Nigeria, if not for the civil war, if not for the independence, if not for multi-religious, well, give me a break. I can point to other countries that were colonized, who had their independence. So, please, if something is actually going wrong, go take responsibility. Stop looking for blame. Because the starting point of our mess is leadership. If you get the leadership wrong, we're finished. And we've always got it wrong. We've never been able to entrench competency in what we do. How do we select our leaders? The North will like to vote for the North, and an Igbo man wants to vote for them. That's bullshit. How do we get to a point where this is the man who can do the job? Because guess what? If you democratize mediocrity, that's what everybody gets. If this is a telephone built by Samsung, they are already back in the laboratory looking for a better version of this. And that's why they keep evolving. But in our own case, what we do? We celebrate the mundane, the status quo. How our forefather did it, that's how we should do it forever and ever. If you even change the way you cook, people will think, no, they doesn't know how to cook. This is how my mother used to cook it. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Our life is meant to evolve, and so will everything. So the point here is having the right culture is central. When you add it to the competency in leadership, then you bring the third part. Ability to synergize, get people involved, committed, in envisioning, everything that we're going to do. Because if you have, that right vision, you don't get your people to buy into it. So imagine how Anambra will be when we set a new vision, and in the Anambra, where we have the most successful, set of people buy into it. Just imagine what Anambra will be. So I'm going into politics for a number of reasons. To answer your question now, I'm going there to change the story of a black man in the world. I'm going there to inspire greatness in our people. I'm going there to inspire professionals to get into politics. I'm going there to set a new standard in governance. And I know these are achievable because I don't claim to know everything, but I know how to be personally authentic. And the one I don't know, I know where to go get the answer. And we're going to go getting the answer until that story is changed. And you in Abia will feel the impact of what we're doing, because when we get a number right, Alibo will feel the impact.
Such a very exquisite and distinguished man. Mr. Valentine Ozigbo, who actually has the interest, of creating impacts people are had. Anambra State, you've got somebody, and I'm sure that with Mr. Valentine Ozigbo, you will not want to lose the best, which is going to come forth for you in Anambra State. I'm sure Anambra is going to be.
I hope they get it.
I'm just going to be a small American,
So why do you choose to wear the same color with me? I don't know.
This is Purple King. So, Mr. Valentine Ozigbo, we are so glad having you on the Impact Matters.
Hello, I did it, and if I could, certainly you too can.
You can.